A lot of people struggle with lighting a smoker. Now, in a past video, I mentioned how I use wood stove pellets, and that is my favorite, but I have a whole row of pine trees that is just a continuing supply of nice, dried pine needles. Things you need to light a smoker, the obvious. Your smoker fuel. Today we're using dry pine. I prefer to use a torch. It goes way faster. And you need your Hive tool because you're going to pack that fuel tight as it lights. So I think one of the biggest reasons why it's hard to keep a smoker lit is I think people just make the fire too fast. So it takes a little bit of patience. You got to kind of wait. I know you want to get into your bees and get the job done, but we got to give that smoker a chance to queue up. So I just kind of start those pine needles on fire. Just keep pumping it, get a nice hot base down there, just like you're making a fire in your wood stove. You're not going to throw a half a dozen full-size logs on. You're going to start with a little bit of paper, a little bit of kindling. So we're just getting a nice hot bed of ash down here. Nice embers. So when you see it all glowing red down there, like it is, I don't know if the camera's picking that up, we're just going to put a little more in there, but don't pack it down. Give that a chance to catch. Now you pack it a little bit more. Keep breathing for it. It's basically what you're doing. Now, the one challenge to pine needles I find is, as the smoker burns from the bottom up, the pine needles are kind of packed tight and they kind of stay and they don't fall down. And it's almost like it creates like a tunnel and then it runs out of fuel. So while I am working my bees, I do sometimes pop the lid and push it down with my Hive tool. Another trick I found that works is if I have a pair of old, Carhartts laying around, I'll cut a couple patches of it off and I'll put it on top of the pine needles, and I'll get my fire going, and then I'll put like a patch of jeans in there, and then I'll just layer that, and it's almost like the jeans kind of weigh down the pine needles and kind of help them go down as the fire burns. This is a pretty good fire, and I think this is the point where people are like, okay, I'm good. And they kind of close it up and they gather their stuff, but you kind of got to babysit it a little bit. You could slow down your air. You'd be surprised how many, if you're using straw, hay, or pine needles, you would be really surprised at how much you can fit in here. And you want to put a lot in. You want to pack that. You want to get rid of all of that air in between the material and make it as dense as possible. A good indication that your smoker is, good and lit, and this is just kind of like what I find, and I use it as a guide, is I pick the smoker up and I touch the bottom. If I can't leave my hand on it, for more than like 2 seconds, then I would say it's pretty hot, and it's going. If you put too little material and fuel in, it's not going to last long, and you may get flare-ups where flames might shoot out that back air hole, and you don't want that. That'll create hot smoke. We want cool smoke. That's it. I am pretty confident that this smoker will stay lit. Um, I'm not going to film and record me babysitting, but I am still going to babysit it. And what I'll do is I'll go over my notes and, do a recap of my last inspection, kind of come up with my game plan today, all while I'm kind of babysitting the smoker. I hope that was helpful. If you found some value out of this, please give me a like and subscribe. And then you will get notifications every time I put a video out, and hopefully they will be just as helpful to you. Have a great day.